Welcome to the latest Latin to Latin Connection segment of the South Florida Community Roundup, where we bring you expert insights of important topics for our community. My name is Mindy Figueroa, your host of Latin to Latin Connections. Today, I am absolutely thrilled to bring you a conversation that is incredibly close to my heart. We are shining a brighter spotlight on the intersection of culture, data, and future business strategy with one of the nation's foremost authorities on multicultural consumer behavior, Dr. Sindy Chapa. Dr. Chapa is the director and tenured professor at the Center of Hispanic Marketing Communications at Florida State University. Originally from Tamaulipas, Mexico, she holds an MBA and PhD in international business and has served on the Coca-Cola Company Hispanic Council and has co-authored the definitive textbook, Hispanic Marketing, the Power of the New Latino Consumer. But this conversation is also deeply personal for me. As many of you know, I have had the distinct privilege of serving on the board of advisors for the center at FSU and also serving as the past board chair. I have seen firsthand how vital this institution is. It is the first and premier academic center of its kind in the nation, dedicating itself to pioneering cross-cultural research and preparing the next generation of culturally intelligent leaders for the global corporate stage. Dr. Chapa is not only leading this change academically, but she's also living as the proud mother of three boys, navigating the very process of acculturation she highlights in her research. Welcome, Dr. Chapa. How are you?
Thank you, Mindy. It is an honor to be with you. You know that you're also in our heart for all the support and becoming a great. Let me show you. Thank you also so much for highlighting the book that I co-authored with Dr. Felipe Corseni.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about that. And obviously, it's about getting to know who you are and the fact that you come from Mexico, but you have been a scholar for many years, teaching in various different high level institutions. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll jump right into the book.
I've been a scholar since, a long time ago, for over 25 years. And I can do the math because it's kind of the age of my oldest son. So I've been in the academia. I love what I do. And since the beginning, I knew that I wanted to better understand the Hispanic consumers living in the United States and living in other multicultural environments.
So I think that that's the basic of the book itself, because you were born in Mexico. Now you moved to the United States and have been probably half of your life in the United States. So there's what is called acculturation, right? So you are basically it's when you're acquiring the knowledge and the insights of a new culture and making it yours, right? I'm sure you have a better academic definition for acculturation than what I just explained, but I'm trying for the audience to explain what that means, right? So let's talk about that experience of you being born in Mexico, the first job. Let's talk about that and how that shaped the work that you're doing right now at FSU, at the center, as also as a co-author of the book.
Sure. Mindy, I'm from the border, so I'm a borderlander. And when I came to the United States for my MBA, and then I decided to do research and go for my PhD, I knew that we were a unique population. The Hispanics we like to say that we're homogeneous, but we're not. We're very heterogeneous. We have different segments within this full and complete and significant the majority of the minority group in the United States. So my first research, it was with the people living in the border, which is from I am from. And then as I immerse myself in the United States and I start going through the acculturation process that you were talking, which is now adopting a second culture and doing the things that I learned to do since I grew up in Mexico, but also doing all these new things that we do in the United States, like celebrating Thanksgiving and trick-or-treating and doing these bicultural habits that we learn to do. then I start switching and doing more research into that process and how the acculturation will and will also shape the consumer perception of
Right.
the different segments that we have in the United States. So yes, my background as a norteña or somebody from the border kind of was the first motivation. And then once you are in this at a scholar, you start doing literature review and trying to learn what other authors and what other scholars have been doing. And I realized that nobody was doing research on that. And there were very, very few research, empirical research at the time done on consumers and consumer behavior and talking about Mexican Americans and talking about Hispanics. Well, it was Felipe Corseni and few others that I not gonna cite because I don't want to miss anybody.
I know. I know there's a plethora and select levels of scholars in this topic, but the question to the audience is why is this important, right? And why do we need to know? What do we need to do this type of research? And what is it the message that we're trying to convey? One is from a societal perspective, but the other one is from a consumer and corporate perspective. So can you give us the whys?
Well, I think that everybody who is working in corporate America understand the power of the Hispanic consumer. They know that if they want to survive, especially in this economy, they have to approach the Hispanic consumers and the minority is by understanding those nuances that can help us to connect at a emotion. And sometimes just talking about demographics is not sufficient, is not enough to really say that you understand a segment. You have to go into the cultural insights. You have to go into the core values. You have to really know what motivates consumers to behave or to buy or to become loyal. And that's what we do with the research.
So it's information you are providing from an academic and also from a practical perspective so that
Right.
individuals that want to connect with that audience and do business, sell products, services, etc., will know firsthand how to do a better job for communicating and engaging so that there is an impact from a monetary perspective as well as from a loyalty perspective, correct?
That's right. Yes.
So that is wonderful, and I wonder that you being from the northern part of Mexico, it's almost an norteña. It's almost as you having a foot on one side of the border and another foot on the other side of the border because you're constantly receiving information back and forth from the American way of doing things and the Mexican way of doing things. Correct?
That's correct. And it's really funny because even the people living in the border, the bicultural or the borderlanders, they have their own culture. Is and I like to also um, compare that with some of the things that we see, for example, in Miami, and
Mhm.
that and I think that it happens in every border town, not only in the US, but also you can see that in Italy, with the Switzerland, with
Right.
France, that the people will be bilingual, for
Yes.
example,
Oh,
and that the right that the people are using um, artifacts and they have already some level of adaptation to both cultures or to both things that is not surprising. But when you go and immerse in other subcultures in Mexico or in the United States, you can see that the people are shocked in how we live. Like they don't understand, like for instance, how we do in the code switching or the Spanglish,
right.
and then they don't understand why we want to celebrate, yes, Christmas and Thanksgiving, but also el Dia de los Reyes,
Right.
and among many other
Traditions.
many others, yes, traditions that we adapt and we grew up doing. It is fascinating just to be from the border because we are already in in an very unconscious acculturation process without knowing it
And it
because
happens, I may say, not only on the side of Mexico, but also the non-Mexican population in the border also
absolutely. Yeah, like
same
getting
problem.
together for the Super Bowl, for example. All the people in the border, they like to with the people living in the border. Like another example is a get together to work for the Super Bowl, and that will be only behavior that you see among people living just right across the bridge, across the river, across the fence that now we have. But yeah, it is very peculiar.
So just to round things up in terms of the book, the idea is not only present the academic side of it, but also have it with the practical perspective. Because I have participated in the book itself by providing a case study. Correct?
Yeah, well, that was my experience as a scholar. So this is the book you're referring to. With the book is different because the first and the second edition, I was not part of the project. It was just Felipe Corseni and Berian Corseni. And then what is unique about this book and what we have been expanding in every single chapter is the connection of the empirical research with current theory and also create a new framework, which eventually will become theory. And then using case studies, real case studies to illustrate. And yes, thanks to Latin, among other companies that they have been provided cases, we can use them to explain how the theory that we have already tested in today's market, then how it is used by practitioners. Like, for example, how important is the or how susceptible the Hispanics are to social norms and to the opinions of the reference groups. And then we talk about that as in theory, coming from psychology and from marketing and consumer behavior theories. And then after we explain the theory, we say, okay, now let's talk about influential marketing. And then we talk about all the social influencers and we say, this is because we have these core values that make us very susceptible to comply and to follow the social norms. Now we explain about the power of the social influencers. And then we present how social influencers can have a very important and significant role among the Hispanic segments. And this is just an example. And then I can bring after that, or let's talk about social media. And then after that, we use a case by some of the agencies to illustrate on how the agency use it,
Mhm.
and then the impact that it had on the market, on the brand, or the overall um, outcome of the campaign.
So the important thing here for anyone that's listening, especially from a practical perspective, is if you want to sell a product service to the Latino market and you have no clue whatsoever, or you're intimidated because somebody have said, oh, they speak another language, they're this or they're that. This is a perfect, textbook that will tell you step by step what needs to happen and give you specific examples, and so that you could that level or that veil of intimidation can be put aside, and then you can have a very objective perspective, correct?
That's correct. And Mindy, because it's important not only to provide descriptive information, what is important is to understand the why. Why are we being moved by someone who is a celebrity and is maybe not an expert in the topic, but is a celebrity? Why are we moved by our mom and grandma? Why are we moved? So we have to go more in depth into the theory. We really have to dig very deeply into our core values to provide the rationale, and then connect it to the Hispanic consumer behavior. And then we can illustrate and use the cases. The cases will change, but the theory, if we have already tested and it has been supported, that will never change. So even though we evolve and we create and we adapt new technology like
Yeah.
artificial intelligence and new platforms like lately with the COVID, the TikTok, then that may change, but what doesn't change is the theory, is the concept, is the explanation on why we are the way that we behave.
Right. So I want to jump from there about the to the center because the role of the students that you serve in the center are being critical also in this process of the book, of the writing of the book. But let's focus on the center itself. Let's talk about the mission of the center, why it was formed, and why we're so passionate about next generation of these international intellectual leaders that we're going to have that are going to have a global view.
I'm going to continue talking, but we got a little bit disconnected.
Yes. So,
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
so let's talk about the mission of the center and the connection with the book. The mission of the center is to prepare the generation of professionals into this market that is growing in demographics, in multicultural and multi-segmented markets, and to prepare the professionals on how to connect and communicate with the Hispanic audiences. So in order to do that, when Dr. Felipe Corseni created the center in 2004, he started putting everything that he knew and all his experiences and Berian's experiences, their experiences, into a textbook or a book. That was smaller than that was the first edition. And then once they put their knowledge into the book, the center created the minor in Hispanic marketing, and that was the foundation for the students to understand and learn about Hispanic consumers. So that was the beginning. And now what we continue doing is, because we're working with master and PhD students, is that we grew. After having the minor in Hispanic marketing, we created the certificate in multicultural marketing communication. We haven't created the book, we're working on it, but the one of the foundation's courses for the certificate is the Hispanic marketing. So we still use the book, whether the students are in the minor or whether the students are doing the certificate. We still use the book as a foundation for knowledge that the students need to master when they graduate. And with our PhD and master's students, what we're doing is that we continue doing research and we continue testing and we continue evaluating cases and we continue doing the research. So it's not just Dr. Chapa by herself working. Now we have a group of students who support, and then we have a group of supporters like yourself, Mindy, that support the students who are helping into making and creating knowledge about Hispanics in the US.
I want to talk about that because my personal experience is it's been very rewarding, from actually the co-producer of this show, Richard Carretero, who was my mentee. I'm sorry, mentee.
Yeah, Menti.
Then became a part-time employee, then a full-time, and then he went off to another subsequent career. So I've seen firsthand how the students are prepared under your guidance and other mentors to really, really understand and have a global perspective of the consumer. They are learning. Yes, Hispanic, it was the original, I guess, subgroup that was relevant, but then we're dealing with many other groups that are studied under the center. And I think that that's the critical. And one of the things that we do, not only people like myself, is to mentor those students, but is to prepare them for the next career position. Tell me what, at the end of the day, if somebody is listening to us today, what does the center do? Prepare someone for a global perspective in corporate America, essentially?
Yes, because if we compare the United States as a multi-diverse, multicultural market, we'll see that the most of the developed countries, like let's say UK, Canada, Australia, they will feel they're gonna have similar patterns. They're gonna have even Spain. I mean, we can take so many examples of different countries that will be having multicultural issues. So what we're learning in a domestic level, let's say in the US level, we can apply it internationally.
Right.
Now, we learn about Hispanic consumers and how different variables such as acculturation process, using more than one language, among other factors, affect the consumer behavior of them. But we can replicate the knowledge into thinking that that's the same kind of patterns and behavior and acculturation process that somebody who is perhaps from an African country has to go through when they move to Canada or when they move to London.
Right.
So it is the same. Now, we talk about the Hispanics in the United States in this book. Now, when we talk about multicultural marketing communication, we refer to the cases and we refer to the theory in general, but then we talk in a specific to cases in the United States. But anyone who is taking the theory and who is learning the foundations, they can apply the same foundations to globally, to
Right.
any other country. And that's the difference that we have as a center and as a program with international business and international marketing certificates.
Right.
That when they do a study, they're just talking about US doing business with Mexico or with Argentina and or different countries at an international level. This is more than just talking about international, because we're talking about that when you want to go into a market, you're not going to go to a very general one unique segment. And this is all about segmentation, right?
We'll be dealing with multiple types of consumers. So this is part of the mission of the center. And I want to jump on, because of time, I want to jump on something that is very important that we do every year. It's our annual gala that is coming up. And tell us about it. Tell us how people can contribute. Because for me, my commitment has been about helping the next generation of global leaders, which the center is allowing us to prepare. So if somebody wants to participate or wants to learn more about the center, first of all, let's talk about how to contact you. And second, let's talk about the event that's coming up in the fall.
Yeah, the event is something that the advisory board and the students are putting together with the support of our leaders at Florida State University. We're doing this as a fundraising event since most of the fundings that we had in the past had been ended for due to the political situation in the country. And now we really rely on the private agencies and practice to support the work that we keep doing with the students. So all the students getting a scholarship or getting a stipend to work at the center, most of them with a stipend, they are funded by private people, by you, by anyone who is interested in supporting the students. You're supporting the work that we do in the research on understanding multicultural consumers. It could be Hispanic, it could be some other segments like the LGBTQ, it can be generational, it can be different cohorts. But you are supporting, or anyone who is supporting the work of the center is supporting research on multicultural consumers, which is very relevant. And then what the reason why we do this is because we want to sustain the work that we have done at the center, and without without you, without the people working in the industry, this could be not possible. So thank you, Mindy, for bringing that up. If anyone wants to sponsor the gala, if if you're interested in mentorship, so you're interested also in learning more about our students for internship opportunities, please contact me.
Yes.
It's important just to remind the audience that if they're interested in connecting with the center, they can email me directly. My email is schapa@fsu.edu. Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to being there in a couple of months. Thank you.
Yeah, the gala. Thank you.
And Cindy, that's the most important thing. It's that you're generating, we're creating the next generation of global thinkers, of global leaders. This is not DUI or anything like that. So that's one of the things I want to do. I have to close. This has been fantastic, Cindy. I appreciate bringing the academic perspective and bringing everything that we need to know about what you're doing in the center. So thank you for what you're doing. I am a witness of your passion, your love, and the students that we work. Just in closing, Latin to Latin Connection is here to bring a voice to Latino entrepreneurs, business people, and civic leaders to share insights about the vibrant and growing Latino community in South Florida. For those interested in reaching out, please contact us at info@l2lmarketing.com or visit our website, l2lmarketing.com. Let us know what topics you're interested in and make sure to tune in on the third Saturday at 7 a.m. And next month, I'm excited to have another special guest, Josh Soto, who's International Sales Director of Hermax. And as we kick off the Hispanic Heritage Month, stay tuned y hasta la próxima.
Muchas gracias, Mindy.
Sí.
One thing before we go, Dr. Chapa, if you can say, like mention the website where they can reach out to you or reach out to the center. Like if you want to share your email or the center's email.
Okay.
¿Tienes el número? ¿Tienes la información? Como o el URL o tu email.
If you have any questions, reach out to us
at
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Bueno, Mindy, I think that gala.
Gala.
Yo nunca sé qué es, si es gala o gala. Gala, gala.
Are we good?
Good, perfect.
Yeah, so there was